Today on The Real Story, 2022 is here and it is a big election year in our state. Candidates are getting their ducks in order, preparing for the battle ahead, and that includes the race for governor. This morning, we'll introduce you to one Republican candidate who wants the job. Susan Patricelli Regan will join us. Plus, the pandemic's impact is wide-reaching. Health leaders saying that we are also experiencing a crisis when it comes to the mental health of our children. And no one knows that better than those who advocate for domestic violence victims. We're going to talk about what we're seeing and what help is needed with the president and CEO of the Connecticut Coalition Against Domestic Violence, Megan Scanlon, and child and family advocate Jane Adamick. Good morning, and thanks for joining us on The Real Story. I'm Jenn Bernstein. Well, the race for governor is on. Next November, voters here in the state will choose to either continue letting Governor Lamont lead the state, or they will decide to go in another direction, and that means the Republican field is starting to really heat up. Today, we're going to introduce you to the first person to file in February of last year, Susan Patricelli Regan. Here's a little background before our conversation starts. She is a Republican who resides in Granby, Connecticut. Her website online says that she's had decades of experience in corporate America as an executive. She's also helped launch 2 nonprofit charities. Susan's also a community TV host, and she is a mother of 3 adult sons and a wife of more than 40 years. Susan Patricelli Regan, welcome to The Real Story this morning.
What a pleasure to be with you, Jen.
All right, so tell us a little bit more about yourself. I just gave you a little bit of an introduction here,
Yes.
But for example, tell us about your corporate life.
Well, I actually worked for Diageo. I was a global marketing executive for them. That's the old Hugh line, largest manufacturer of adult beverages in the world. I was responsible for U.S. duty-free overseas and military overseas. I have traveled the world, Asia, North America, South America. I've had a great deal of time spending making friends first before we did business. That gives me a great opportunity to utilize that in the diversity arena. I had to work with our lawyers. I had large budgets. I'm very used to dealing with budgets for various things. We also had exchange rates. So I feel as though when I look at the landscape of Connecticut and the budgets that we have, that I'm more than qualified to manage that. Now, just to add another note, also as a wife and a mother that you mentioned, I'm responsible for family budgets as well. So the devil is in the details, and I plan on taking a look at the details of our budgets, because I don't believe we are being given the right numbers.
And we're going to talk about what your priorities are going to be for this race and for your campaign. But first of all, what inspired you to run? Because you haven't run for office before, I was reading.
That's correct. That's correct. What they will say is you've not been vetted. As far as I am concerned, when it comes to this political arena, many of the same people, one of the things when I speak to people on an everyday basis, they tell me that they do not trust the current politicians, the career politicians, and the deep-pocketed politicians. And they feel if they've been doing the same thing over and over, the same way, with the same people, and not getting a good result, that they would like to see someone who is outside the Beltway, outside of, let's refer to it as the old boys club. They feel as though there has been no one who actually speaks for the hardworking taxpayers of Connecticut. That's where I come from. Mine is a grassroots campaign. I have an acronym that I made. It's B period, O period, T period, E period. And I am the voice of the electorate, which of course is the voters. And my feeling is that when I talk to them on a day-to-day basis, I get a great deal of enthusiasm from them, because I will provide to them the truth and the transparency which will equal trust. And they do not They do not trust the politicians, and I have to say on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah, you paint yourself as a political outsider, right? You have
That's correct.
You haven't run for office, and you're saying this grassroots campaign that you've started up here.
Yes, exactly. And my feeling is that I do not have any alliances. I do not have any agreements. I do not have any promises to be kept. To the legislative field, again, on both sides of the aisle, I am coming from speaking for the people. We need to turn this around. The government is too large. There's too much government overreach. The people, as we have, is we are the people, and that needs to be that. We've had the tail wagging the dog.
Yeah, let's talk about the cornerstones of your campaign. You talked a little while ago about the budget. What are your priorities? What is the number one biggest thing that you want to tackle if you became governor?
Well, I look at, everybody talks about the taxes. There are a lot of things to address there. However, as I said, there is no truth in what I believe are the budgets now. They tell us that we have $3.5 billion in the rainy day fund, or the general fund, as they like to refer to it as. I don't know exactly how that or what that is being held for, because when we talk about our current governor, Lamont, he is bonding for other things. Now, we've been talking about infrastructure for a long time. So my very first move would be to have, there was a couple of years ago, a strategic economic overview that was done, and it outlined some of the things that are in all of the departments. We need to find out where the fat is. We need to find out what the budgets are. And I would have on a regular basis department reports every month given to me to review, to find out what the projects are, where the budget is, what the timeline is, and how well we are doing. That would be very strategic in leading us to, and we could not do it immediately. It would take some, and the legislature needs to help with that, but it would lead to a zero-based budget is where I would want to go.
Interesting.
That would be key. We have to get our economic picture straightened out. And I think right now, as I said, I do not think we have been given the right numbers.
You don't think we've been given the right numbers that are out there. So you want to go through with a fine-tooth comb, go through all of the agencies' different budgets, make decisions, and then are you for then smaller government, reducing the size of the state government that we have right now?
Yes, and it needs to be more efficient. You see, I also think that we do not have good management of whatever talent we have. We keep hiring people from Boston agencies and outside of Connecticut. And we should have people who have been hired that have the talents to handle some of the challenges that we have. There is no reason why, if we have the right people, that they should not be utilized. There should also be succession things. These are things that you can do in corporate life too, so that if someone is replaced, retiring, or whatever, we know who the next person would be in place for that. I would look at a major overhaul as far as that is concerned. I think there are some other critical points we need to address immediately too. We do have to address this juvenile crime. That's a big thing. I think we need educational reform. We need to take a look at that. There are several factions within it, and in particular, the parents have lost their ability to have a voice in the curriculum for their children in school. So there are a number of things. I do not believe that we react too much, knee-jerk reacts to the issues that we have, and I think we need to have a very thorough overview to pull things together. I'm really a ahead of the curve type person. I always have a plan B for everything. But my primary concern is to make sure that we are telling the people of Connecticut, whatever bad news it may be, I'm going to give them the truth. And that is my bottom line.
Right, so Governor Lamont, tell me what kind of job you think he's doing so far. I think I remember listening to an interview that you did, and you had said that you had interviewed him at one point. Is that true on your community television show?
Yes, when he ran in 2018, I interviewed a number of the gubernatorial candidates. He was one of them. He's a very affable gentleman. I think he had obviously some political experience when he ran against his own Governor Malloy. He has, I guess, limited business experience. I think that he relies a great deal on Josh Grabal. I feel that I'm not sure that he seems to be more comfortable in the executive order position.
Let's talk about the executive order position, because he's asking for another extension of his emergency powers. This drives Republicans nuts. He's asking for them in a limited basis right now, and he's drawing up, his office said the other day, 10 to 12 executive orders that he wants the legislature to go over. We know, obviously, the Democratic-controlled legislature has approved it several times. I think it's 7 times already. So, you know, what's your opinion?
Well, that's because... Yes, well, that's because obviously the Democrats have a majority in the legislature, and they can do that, and then it removes the responsibility for them, so that with their constituents, if they're not happy with the way things are going, they can say, we didn't have anything to do with it, that was the governor. The governor seems to be very comfortable in that executive role, and obviously he is filing to run again. He told me during my interview that he would only need 4 years to fix the state. Given, in all due honesty, none of us saw the COVID thing. I do have to give him some credit for, you know, it was an emergency situation. He did need executive orders there, but obviously the handling of the nursing homes was totally inadequate. We lost many loved ones for families in Connecticut because he followed in what he did, and so now we're looking at putting them back into these, taking these people with COVID and putting them in the nursing homes. That's not a good move. I have no idea why he's going to redo that. That makes no sense to me at all. So with regard to how well he's done so far, I do not believe he's told us the truth. That's one of my biggest things. Second of all, he treats, and the current administration treats the Connecticut voters and hardworking taxpayers, they treat them as though they're stupid. They're not stupid. Otherwise, they would not be looking towards someone like myself who's going to speak for them. They do not want these deep-pocketed politicians, and they do not want people who have been career politicians. They simply don't trust them.
Susan, out of curiosity, because we are obviously just talking about Governor Lamont, on the other side of things, what do you think about the Connecticut Republican Party here in our state?
All right, I'll be sure. I'll be quite frank. What I hear from the people, and I share their concern as well. The Republican Party is not, it's not strong. It is, I think, it has too many factions within it. I think there are rhinos within it. We do not speak with one voice. I don't think we have a clear message yet. I do believe that they believe in conservatism, which is a root value for me as far as I'm concerned. And I believe that I am the right type of person who is aggressive enough to be the voice of the people. We do not have that strength in the Republican Party. I see fear of losing, I guess, their constituents. They see fear of losing their respective representative seats. We've got a lot of things going on. So, and I also don't understand, quite honestly, the 2 other candidates who may or may not run. I'm not quite sure why they're holding off. I find that interesting. I started early because I knew that I needed name recognition and I needed to raise money. So
I think there's going to be a lot of news in the coming weeks, right?
Yes, and I'm sure there'll be some other people. Yes, people that we have not heard their names before as well. And I look forward to it. You know, I think if some good people stand up, that's great. I mean, I would like to see someone, if it's not going to be me, then I want to see someone who has the same values I do. I might just say that when I do my, I have been doing Republican Town Committee tours and, you know, presentations so that they know about me, because from there, the delegates are chosen, and it's the delegates who will determine whether you'll be in the primary or not. You have to have a 15% portion of the delegates in order to do that. So I have this mini flyer that I have. I'm just going to read it very,
well, we actually have to, I'm so sorry, Susan, we are up on time.
Okay.
Now, is there a place that people can find that, or?
Yes, you can go right on my website, www.ggop, Susan, S-U-S-A-N, 4, F-O-R-C-T, 2022.com. Everything is on there, all the things that I'm doing, all of what I stand for, what I'm against.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's all
Check it
there.
out you know, we get to vote in our state and around the country. This is a beautiful thing. So go do the research on your candidates to make an informed decision for sure. Susan Patricelli Regan, really appreciate you coming on The Real Story. Thank you.
Yes, I appreciate your time as well, Jen. Thank you.
All right, coming up on The Real Story, we are going to talk about the serious issue of domestic violence. There's been an uptick in cases because of the pandemic, and it's putting more children in crisis. Coming up, domestic violence prevention advocates join me. They plan on asking our lawmakers to help in their efforts, what they're seeing in homes across the state, and what needs to be done to address it.
The Popeyes Big Box is back.